Alright, nerds. I'm gonna do some Kankri quotes, because I've got Kankri cosplay, but I want to make sure that I can do, like, the voice and everything. I haven't actually finished Homestuck. I never really made it past the beta kids. So yeah, I don't actually know that much about Kankri, except that, you know, like, he talks a lot. He seems cool to me. Hold on, let me turn my fan on. It's hot in here. It's July in Arkansas. I don't have my fan on because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I'm just gonna read these in as best I can. Yep. These are mostly from the Random Homestuck Quotes website. So, I'm not gonna have any, like, big, long rants. They're pretty separated. So, alright. I think the role of gender in Befron society is probably a really fascinating and advanced subject to explore. See, you and I can appreciate the subject, of course. I just don't think anyone is ready for that yet. There are so many other hurdles to overcome first. No, not all. I want a quote from Damara. I don't know what all of that means. Yes, but regardless, what I'm saying is it's great we stayed away from that. It's helped me appreciate you as a friend, and I admire all your good qualities, platonically, of course. Hold up there, Mina. The question you just asked was in fact a severe microaggression against those who are stricken with deeply plighted feelings of species dysphoria. Your question was innocent enough, so I'm not about to go down the perilous road of trigger shaming, but Mina, my goodness, what you just said was catastrophically triggering. Poor Horace here will likely feel triggered for weeks because of your thoughtless question. Hell, I'm even feeling a little triggered by it, and I'm not even under the impression I'm a horse. I think everyone within earshot was triggered by that. You feel triggered, right, Horace? Oh man, I'm sorry. I completely forgot that stunk was an ableist slur. Please forgive my insensitivity towards your disability. Or the way your hair flows in the wind when you scoot over some sort of obstacle on your device really fast. Or the way you make this really funny noise as you connect with one of your copious high fives, which can only be heard over the loud slap if you listen really closely. Ooh, you flirting, Kankri. Anyway, I think this all would have been completely lost on me if we didn't have this strong platonic bond. I just thought I'd say that. Guess I'll get going now. See you around, Latula. Oh, shit. Okay. In for the long haul. And really, it's everyone's business to examine their privilege, even Burgundy's, who may be subject to the pitfall of believing incorrectly there are none on the scale beneath them who they enjoy certain privileges over, which off-spectrum trolls will never know, such as those identifying as other bloods or caste multiples, polyblooded. Anywho, oh, sorry, all these 9s and 6s. Hemoglobically ID as having a caste which manifests nowhere as yet known, and anyone physically, or for that matter off-species who physically do possess a blood type, or mutants, very problematic term hardly triggering to some, be warned, such as you and I, Carcat. But this puts us both in a situation to which our knowledge uniquely allows us to understand and empathize with tragically underprivileged and unempowered groups across all scuttles of life, thus affording us both what I like to call a uniquely underprivileged privilege, which yes is kind of a privilege which we should both strive to check as well, whenever we can. This same uniquely underprivileged perspective, as I'm sure you know, was disadvantaged upon my post-scratch iteration as well, and while I have no doubt you justifiably came to revere that figure of your planet's rich history and of your personal lineage, and while his goals of peace, equality, and a truly spectroblind society, I'm afraid I personally have trouble condoning his methods. I don't like to use the term problematic lightly, but while his tactics were nothing if not massively problematic to say the least, employing violent uprising to effect change, and emblazoning his mark upon history and his faithful followers with the salty flourish of a single rude shouted swear word. It's not to my taste, even though he is who I would have grown up to be in another life, but no, I prefer to effect social change through rational, honest discourse and contributing. Sorry, this is, like, it's gone below the page, so there's, like, text in the way. some of our dialogues. Focusing on what should be the real goals, though keen adherence to the discipline of problematics, ensuring that we stay focused on successfully problematizing a wide range of direly undercomplicated social dilemmas. That took 2 minutes. No. I know Homo Suck Roxy is my icon, but I'm just not... Ooh, okay, here we go, another one. Now, I realize we've been at this for some time already, but at the risk of derailing the dialogue you initiated, and may I just say how thrilled I am that you did, Karkat, I would just like to qualify my entire analysis of your Alternian culture by saying that in contrast with life on before us, while your people may have been engaged in violent lethal class struggle for millions of sweeps, by no means does this imply that the before-in way of life was entirely without problematic elements, perhaps even more disturbing and insidious for their lack of acknowledgement and open discussion, particularly as a consequence of what in my view were widely and dismayingly unexamined systemic social justices resulting from the entrenched power dynamics in play, dynamics strikingly similar to those of your planet's markedly more bellicose iteration, which has only served to fully vindicate my hypothesis that such a hierarchy is really predicated on intrinsic dysfunction and failure to shift all of the usual narratives and undiagnosed problems fall into an open, judgment-free discourse through which problematic issues are constructively channeled into more intelligently problematized avenues of discussion. The fact I made it through that, though. Excuse me, Mina, lame is an ableist slur, which in this context is really inappropriate. Tagging your jokes with ironic trigger warnings really does not excuse the behavior. I'll thank you to refrain from using such terms in the future. On the other hand, if I'm being honest, I've found Mituna's entire existence to be a problematic implement to the advancement of overall awareness of ableism and its painful manifold consequences for unability persons. The speech impediment, frankly, I could do without, and I'm by no means ecstatic over his torrential bigotry and hostility. On the other hand, I want to be sensitive to him as a person and as a friend, but on the other, what kind of message does his behavior send? And frankly, I'm not crazy about the helmet either. Fucking roast cake. I'm sure it's mostly due to the fact that we've stayed entirely away from the stingbug's nest of romantic entanglement, which of course is related to my oath of celibacy, which as you know is a personal choice, one which for some reason my post-scratch adult self eventually strayed from with Mulin of all people, but that's neither here nor there. Stop giving me all quotes. I just want Kankri. You're ruining my video with your jakes. Look, it's not that I'm insensitive to your concerns on that topic. I'm interested to discuss them with you on an academic, primarily theoretical level. I feel I should jump in here at this moment before this escalates any further, and we start throwing around hateful rhetoric that we can't take back. Thank you. Now you know how I hate to derail conversations, but I think this discussion calls for a thorough, unrelenting education on the topic. And now I shall begin my crushing I've never seen that word before, sorry. Harangue? I'm just gonna say harangue. If it's wrong, whatever. On this delicate subject as thusly. Blah, blah. No, just no, poem. We're not doing this. I am not going to pollute Karkat's utterly imperative crash course, in which he is reduced to the absolute basics, by indulging in your pet issues. I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't call me that. We've talked about this. That's what you call a wiggler. Do I look like a wiggler to you, Porum? No, I don't. It's been 3 sweeps. Plus eternity for, excuse me, fuck's sake. I think we can safely retire that particular term of endearment. Call me anything but that, even my other nickname. I'm actually okay with that one. It would have been alright. Karkat and I will only a few hours from wrapping up our first of what I'm presuming will be many, many sessions together. As a friend, I wouldn't want to change anything about you. Well, not most things. I just think you may not be doing yourself or those who are similarly disadvantaged any favors with what I'm hoping is a perfectly innocent array of traits and mannerisms. But again, I say this with all due sensitivity. Oh, hey, Latula. I thought I heard your device grinding on various surfaces nearby. How are your athletic toy stunts going? Are you getting a lot of air? Am I saying that right? Alright, one more. Come on, give me a quote I haven't read yet. Yes, I was just thinking lately about your new post-scratch friends, particularly the young Ventus and Pyro iterations on their team, and how they're pretty similar to us, but also really different. Great! It sounds like you don't have any triggers, at least none that you know about. I'll proceed with caution nevertheless. Just please let me know if you start feeling triggered by anything I'm saying, and we can take a brief time out while you summon your Moirel to help pacify you, assuming you have one. Not that I'm presuming you do, but I heard you did, is that correct? If not, I apologize. I further apologize if your orientation precludes the possibility as a pale aromantic, pan-quadrant demi-romantic, something in the grey pale sexual department or such, and hopefully you're not triggered by such presumptuous concilian normative language. It wouldn't be the first time I was guilty of such an inexcusable microaggression, and I am not so oblivious to my own romantic privilege to believe it will be the last time either. Not to get into all this again, but just the thought of dating you. It's such a strange and vaguely off-putting idea. No offense, it almost makes me understand at a visceral level the bizarre human anathema of incest, which is something I can't really explain, I'm just saying. Carcat, I'm sorry for this interruption. I promise I'll get back to my critical lecture as soon as this promiscuous busybody leaves us in peace. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. So yeah, basically, you just have a British accent, and you just talk really, really fast. And then you got it. That's how I do it. Yeah. Alright. Goodbye.